Okay, welcome back to... Man, I was going to say the Tuesday show. It's been too long. It's been too long. Welcome back to Lv3 Focus, in fact. I'm Ultra David. We're going over some kind of randomly chosen Street Fighter 4 videos from recent times. Each one of them has a little interesting moment in it, a little teachable moment, I think. The next one is Snake Eyez at SoCal Regionals when he and Team Wednesday Night Fights fought against Team NorCal in Street Fighter 4. It was a 5v5. It was a really good set. Not for anything that anybody else in Team SoCal had, but because of Snake Eyez. Snake Eyez was the last player on his team, and he beat 5 straight players to win the whole thing. It was crazy. It was an insane comeback. I'm only going to show the last match that he has, which is against Hoodaman, a Honda player. Before we get to actually watching it, just to go over the match a little bit, Zangief versus Honda is a match that Honda wins by a little bit. It's not a bad matchup, but a little bit. You know, like 6-4-ish, that kind of thing. And it's a match that he wins because his neutral jumping fierce, you know, the big old stop sign, is really useful. Crouching jab hands, really useful. Headbutt is really useful. He just has all these good defensive tools against Zangief. He takes up a lot of the space that Zangief would want to take up or would want to attack from. Those moves kind of shut it down in a lot of ways. So when Snake Eyez plays this, you know, look for the tools that he uses against those moves. Zangief has things to say about each of those options, certainly. That's why it's not a terrible matchup, because Gief can do things about them. It's not easy to do things about them. In some cases, it's not going to be a long-term strategy in terms of winning more than your opponent does. But as far as an individual 2 out of 3 set goes, anything can happen, and it does. So let's go over to the old video. I'm going to start off right after Snake Eyez beat El Cubano Loco, and all of SoCal is going crazy. That guy has his shirt off over there. That's happening. Frankie isn't involved at all, but for some reason he's in there. I don't know, why was he in there? That was weird. Oh, there's Snake Eyez, with the players who all lost behind him. This was looking so terrible for a while. After those first 4 games, it just looked like there was going to be zero drama out of this, zero interest. There's Hoodaman. Now, on this team were a Honda, a Vega, a Balrog, a Rufus, and a Cammy. And I really think that the character who does best there is Honda, but they saved the Honda until last to deal with this Zangief. And at this point, Zangief has all the momentum in the world. He's made all the right choices. You can see how confident he is there on the right, how Marcus is trying to give him advice like he knows what Zangief does. Marcus knows what Zangief does, because he and I used to play a lot, actually, at UCLA, back when I actually was playing. He knows about Gief. And certainly he's been playing against Snake Eyez in more recent years, and Snake Eyez is way better than I ever was, so he knows, he knows. Snake Eyez on the left, he goes with Ultra 1. Ultra 2 can do some good things against a neutral jumping Honda. But that's not what Snake Eyez wants to go for. So we'll see how he deals with those things I talked about. Neutral jumping fierce. There it is. Neutral jumping roundhouse, another important option. The toward roundhouse, the crouching jab. Yeah, there it is. That's going to be what this is all about. Those 3 or 4 moves. Kind of like 5 moves. Crouching jab, toward roundhouse, neutral jumping fierce and roundhouse, and headbutt. That's like all of Honda's buttons in this matchup. That's all he has to do. Unfortunately for him, not an EX there, so he gets punished. Yeah, so you see, you know, this is actually a good round to start on, because this is going exactly how Hoodaman wants it to go. All of his buttons are working out. And he's just been able to walk away, play some D. That's really about best case scenario for him. Okay. There it is. That's one way to deal with it. The down medium kick, it's a very low profile move for Zangief. It allows him to move through. Sets up safe jump timing afterward. And just like that, Snake Eyez is, you know, pretty close to taking this thing. Not quite there. There's another tool. Ah, very smart. Jump out roundhouse. So Snake Eyez has brought out a couple of his ways to deal with a couple of those buttons. Stand medium kick against forward roundhouse. We've seen that. We've seen stand roundhouse against the neutral jump. We've seen crouching medium kick against the neutral jump. So 2 neutral jump, anti-neutral jump options. There's lariat from, you know, certain ranges it works out. OS, EX screen hand. So we've seen 3 ways to deal with the neutral jump. And now we're kind of into a reset situation. But notice that there's this range that he really hasn't been challenging the neutral jump from. It's about, well, a little closer than there. About half screen. Just outside of where stand roundhouse would work. So it's just been kind of letting it rock. He has the life lead now, so you know he can stay away. He can play a little bit of D. He's got to get in now, though. He's got to try to solve those buttons. Alright. EX hand, goes for chip. I think it was actually hit, but goes for chip. Snake Eyez stoic. Yeah, it was a hit. Ooh, actually got hit, and then Hoodaman jumps away again. Probably just holding up back, actually, on wake up there. Alright. If that was, a neutral jump, which is probably what he was looking for, that would have worked out too. Nice walk back by Hoodaman. Honda can play a little bit of offense in this matchup too, because his footsies are offensive enough in this matchup that he can walk around with toward roundhouse like that, crouching jab hands as well. And he can use the neutral jumps to be a little bit more offensive, especially the way that Snake Eyez has been using them. Or has been countering them, I should say. Not from that range. There's the stand medium kick against the toward roundhouse. We saw that tool earlier. Yeah, that's the kind of offensive use that I'm talking about of the neutral jump, and that's allowing Hoodaman to get in. Unfortunately for him, he presses buttons. You can see his reaction to it. That's 2 out of 3 sets, so it's not over yet. And it's all on Hoodaman. Man, that's a rough situation to be in. That whole crowd wants your blood. Look at that dude. He wants your blood. Let's go. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Well, you see that? What was that about? It's like as pixelated as can be. But, yeah. UCLA graduate.
Classiest
thanks.
college.
Yeah, thanks for representing us well, Marcus. Well, that's just a lucky use of the lariat right there. But so far, Hoodaman's been doing alright. Using a stand fierce now, too. Yeah, that short's not really going to do anything for him. He's just kind of trying to look active. That's all. Not going to be pressing that when it comes down to it. Yeah, there's the good D. That's why some geefs go with Ultra 2 in this matchup, to deal with neutral jumps in that kind of situation. Yeah, exactly like that. But Snake Eyez didn't do it. He's comfortable against the neutral jump so far. Doesn't seem too worried about it. He's had a couple of counters exactly like that. Nope. Oh, and this little stream operator that thought that was going to work out, did he? Oh, that's very optimistic. That's a nice read. And now Snake Eyez, he's got good mix-ups. See if he does it. No, drop combo. Good punish. Again, that active movement from Hoodaman is something he's doing just to try to convince Snake Eyez that he's doing something. Doesn't want to look like he's just playing, the old ST Honda style of Fortress of Crouching Honda. Everybody got mad at me for.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Again, the neutral jump is really starting to become a problem, it seems. In the last game, in this game, I should say, last round in particular, it was a big issue. Let Hoodaman zone out Snake Eyez in a way that was very frustrating for Snake Eyez, very successful, very profitable for Hoodaman. And so far in this round, too. And Hoodaman just put up, a very good wall. Great defense. And is being active enough that he's not just getting walked back into the corner quickly. Here he is moved into the corner, but it took a long time. It took a lot of life for Snake Eyez to get here. Again, great defense. Well, Snake Eyez trying to get back in, trying to make this thing work. Is he going to go for safe jump timing? Yeah. Ooh, what a good mix-up. I would have blocked too. I would have been looking for that jump fierce as well. So here we are at match point. Set. Well, what's it called? I guess like tournament point. Yeah, it's not a tournament though. It's exhibition point. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Now, remember that neutral jump that has been really pestering Hoodaman, or has been pestering Snake Eyez. It's been pretty tough for him. He won that last round just pretty much because of mix-ups. And his mix-ups are really good, and he was patient enough to get into a position where he could use them. But for most of that round, most of the previous round too, he was kept out. The neutral jump was a big part of it. Yeah, just like that. We've seen stand roundhouse against it. We've seen lariat when very close, and late lariat too. Early lariat gets duffed. We've seen crouching medium kick under it. We've seen a few things, but we really haven't seen those for the most part in this game. That was all in the first game. And Hoodaman now in a hugely advantageous position for himself. All he needs is one hit a chip. And that's that short that I said he wouldn't ever use. It's a good reaction. So it's the final game now. And NorCal could still steal this thing.
Now it's a steal.
Now it's a steal. It wasn't a steal before. It was theirs before, but they let it get away from them. Snake Eyez is... Yeah, he's the best. That's accurate. Yeah. LPN talking to Hoodaman there. But again, think about what has been annoying for Snake Eyez. A couple of things, few things in particular. Toward roundhouse on the ground, neutral jump fierce and roundhouse in the air, headbutt for mobility, for anti-air, and for wake up. Those three things. And so far, Snake Eyez has shown a few ways to deal with each. He's had great timings, jump back into sweep against headbutts. We've talked about how he's dealt with the roundhouse, with stand medium kick. We've talked about how he's dealt with neutral jump sometimes. With stand roundhouse. Okay, first time we've seen lariat. First time we've seen on-reaction lariat against headbutt. And now there's a lot of pressure from Snake Eyez. Great read. Hoodaman's had those perfect reads. Stand roundhouse from that range. That's a cool 250. And Hoodaman now fighting from the corner, trying to get out of it a little bit. The Snake Eyez had a couple new things. Well, just one new thing so far. That was supposed to be SPD for sure. The lariat. Again, the lariat on reaction. Twice. Not easy to do, but he's had it. And luckily for Geef, it's something that you can do while you're blocking. There's another thing. That was the startup of headbutt that Honda was thrown out of. He's throwable. He's throwable. First time we've seen Snake Eyez do that in this set. There's the neutral jump. Still harassing Snake Eyez. Yep. A big old stop sign, the EX hand. First time we've seen that. Where has that been? You saw how the range that he used to counter that neutral jump from so far away. Farther away than the stand roundhouse. Again, EX hand. And now Hoodaman has to make a bit of a comeback, and he's seen a couple new tools: the lariat, the EX hand, the grab to beat headbutt on its startup. Snake Eyez knows his opponent is fishing for that hands into super. He's not going to give it to him easily. And Snake Eyez now playing defense, which we haven't seen too much of either. There's that big jump roundhouse. So good. In the air. No super. That was a big loss there for Hoodaman. Could be a potential problem. Look at the time now. 16 seconds. Nice block. And at this point, it's not going to happen. Snake Eyez, very smart man, just builds meter. Final round. But think about what we've seen in this game that we didn't see before. The lariat, the EX hand. Let's get back to the screen, stream operator. Stuff going on right now. There's game being played. There it is. Again, the pressure. There's the lariat to beat the neutral jump. And now Honda trying to get a little bit of life back. The crouching medium kick would have worked even if there had been a neutral jump. Oh, you see him jump back in case of headbutt. Love the read. Didn't happen though. And now Hoodaman's got to make a major comeback. You see the EX hand attempted counter to the neutral jump and ended up costing considerably, as you could see in the first wake-up pile driver of that whole set. How long did that set take? That was a long time.
It was 18 minutes.
Was that 18 minutes for that? Yeah, let's just watch him get mobbed. Oh, man. So think about what he brought out in that last game. All sorts of new stuff. EX hand to beat neutral jumps. Lariat to beat headbutt on reaction. Grab SPD to beat headbutt as his opponent is doing it. And wake up SPD at the very last moment after 18 minutes of convincing Hoodaman that he wouldn't do it, that it wouldn't come up. It never did. Until right at the very end. And Snake Eyez brought it out. Alright. That is another thing that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people don't do. It's this end game kind of thing. Where, you know, a lot of people just bring out all their tricks early. And that's it. When it comes down to the end, when it comes down to the wire, and they really need something to just finish the opponent off, they don't have anything else because it's all been shown. It's all on the table already. There's no extra trick. And so the opponent can just play, having learned all those things, and not having to deal with any new stuff. If you're Hoodaman and you really think before that final game, okay, I know how he's going to deal with my neutral jumps. I know how he's going to deal with my headbutts. I know how he's going to deal when I'm pressuring him, and I know what he's going to do when he's pressuring me, because we have played, you know, even though it was only 2 games, it was a long time. It was very long, drawn-out rounds. You know, Hoodaman thinks he has a good idea, and if he's playing most people in the world, he's probably right. That read at the end would probably have worked out against most people, because most people are playing that moment in the same way that they were playing the whole previous set. Which is not what Snake Eyez does. And most people would use EX hand to beat those neutral jumps a lot earlier. We talked about how annoying those neutral jumps were for Snake Eyez. They were really helping Hoodaman control space. They allowed Hoodaman to play offense sometimes. They allowed him to play defense mostly. And, you know, even though Snake Eyez had these tools that he showed in the very first round, the very first game, to deal with that, he didn't use all of them. He saved one of them, the EX hand. You see the range that he could use that from. It's farther away than the stand roundhouse. Very, very useful tool. The on-reaction headbutt, that's something that most people can't do. Luckily, Geef can just press literally one button because of the 3-punch button that he uses on reaction, and so there's really no risk for Geef. It's not like you have to input a down toward or something. You're just walking backwards and you press a button, and if it comes out, it comes out, and if not, you're blocking. It's no big deal. But that's something he didn't bring out either until the final game. So when it came down to the final game, he tried to use those things in the first couple of rounds to put himself over the top. It worked okay. It didn't work well enough because he had to go down to the final round. So in the final round, he brought out his final trick at the very end. Wake up, spinning pile driver. It's one of those things that works at the very lowest level and then not for this whole set of Zangief play from level 3 out of 10 to level 8 out of 10. It doesn't work very well. But when it comes to level 9 and 10, where Snake Eyez is, if you save it for those right moments, if you know exactly where to use it and when to use it, then it works. And it did. So he, I think it's a good lesson for saving what you need to save. Knowing what it is you need to save, too. That's something that's, not as easy to figure out as it might seem. If you have a set of 5 tools to deal with one of your opponent's options, which one of those don't you use? If you're Snake Eyez, you could have picked EX Hand to use earlier and not Stand Roundhouse. But he went with the Stand Roundhouse to use. He saves meter that way. He convinces Hoodaman that Hoodaman can use neutral jumps from farther away that way, which he then later blew up in the final game. So thinking about all those little considerations, those are things you have to think about beforehand. Plans beforehand that you have to consider. And, before this match started, those are things that Snake Eyez considered. He thought about the moment that he was in, thought about who he was playing against, and he thought about the character matchup, and he picked those things to save. Specifically for the chance that that final game would come up and that final round would come up. So very smart job to him. He is the best. Now, I was going to do Arturo against Zeus, because I thought this was going to take like 20 minutes tops. But I guess I don't have time for that, unfortunately.
It's up to you. So.
I'm kind of tired. Maybe some time later.
Okay.
But I do plan to do that later. Zeus against Arturo Sanchez at Winter Brawl a month ago was a really good set because Art plays offense in it rather than defense, which is what Sim is known for. Against Vega, it makes a lot of sense. He did that. And I thought that would be good too because it would show, how you can play differently than the opponent expects. Each character has more play styles than is immediately obvious. That's kind of the hallmark of a well-designed character, a well-designed game. And that's something he brings out. So, but anyway, it's too late. It's 10:45, so I'm not going to do it. All right.
Okay.
We're going to be back tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, as per always, with the Tuesday show. We'll be talking about various and sundry topics, I'm sure. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully we'll be doing this thing more often. Maybe I can save that for next week, tentatively. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.